Hi, I'm Becky. Welcome to Secondactsoulsisters. And this morning I'm going to be making zucchini bars. What is so special about these, first of all, it's not diet. That's why it's probably so good, right? I got this recipe from a farmer's wife. Her name is Gladys. She has since passed away, but boy, she could cook. Those farmers' wives can really cook. And this is a recipe that I have been told I should probably put in a contest. Anyway, I'm going to share it with you because it's too good to keep a secret. And I know Gladys would not care whatsoever. And anyway, we'll go ahead and begin. The first thing you want to do is start your oven. And it's to be set at 350. And I always like to give mine another 10 minutes, even after the oven says that it's at 350, because usually it's really not there. But give it another 10 minutes after it notifies you. And I'm going to go ahead and start throwing things together. And the first thing we need is 2 cups of sugar. And that will go in there, just in a mixing bowl. Then a cup of oil, which I already overflowed this and had a big mess just a while ago. So we'll get everything we can out of there. I'm not used to talking while I cook, so this is new for me, but we will get through it. Good enough. And then sugar, oil, and the eggs. And you want to let your eggs get to room temperature. Don't have to, but it does make a better cake if you do. It helps it rise more. I go ahead and try to get all my ingredients together. I've already broken the 2 eggs, whisked them a little bit with a fork so they mix together a little bit, and we're going to put those in there too. Now we're going to mix it all together. I live in a farmhouse that is about 126 years old, so there's nothing fancy here. It needs a lot of updates, but I don't plan on doing anything much to it other than normal upkeep, but I sure love it. I love being out in the cornfield. It's quiet. So what we're going for here is just to incorporate the oils, the sugars, and get them all mixed together the best we can, and it'll kind of come to a creamy look, and I'll show you here in a minute, okay? So just about there. Okay, take a peek at this. I will bring this over to you. And it will look like that. Just a nice creamy look. With my dry ingredients, I do the same thing. I put them all together. Not the sugar, because it has to be put in here first, but the flour, the baking soda, the salt, the cinnamon, and the baking powder. And then I just take a fork and stir it around. So that's why my flour looks a little brown, because it's got the cinnamon in it. But that way, everything mixes together better than if you were to just throw a teaspoon of cinnamon in there. It could very easily just glob, you know, and then you got a big sharp taste of cinnamon. So slowly we're going to go ahead and add this. Let me make sure I'm doing this right. Yeah, put my dry ingredients in here. Just like a little bit at a time. Make sure your mixer's on low, otherwise it'll just poof out all over the place. And I add about a third of this mixture at a time. Doesn't have to be exact. And in between each third, I scrape down the bowl just to get stuff mixed up. Even with the KitchenAids, you gotta scrape stuff off the bottom. starting to look like cookie dough, and this will get really thick, okay? It'll be really thick, and you're gonna think that you've messed it up, and I will show you here in a minute after I add this last bit of flour. You're gonna be like, no way. My mixer's chunking around because the batter's so thick. This is where it's pretty important to make sure it's all mixed together. This is pretty much your final step before adding the zucchini. I grow zucchini in my garden and I shred it and then vacuum seal it in 3-cup packages, and then that's what I use for this. That way I've just got it whenever I need it. Here, let me show you this. This is kind of like a cookie dough, and it is supposed to be like this. It's not runny like a cake batter until we put the zucchini in. Okay? Now the zucchini, I put the juice and all in it. The whole thing. You do a fresh one and shred it, you're probably not going to get a whole lot of juice unless you let it sit for a while. It does not matter. Just want you to know that you definitely put the juice in. And there it goes. A lot of recipes call for 3 cups of zucchini, so putting them and freezing them in that amount seems to work out pretty good universally. Start out on slow. Now it looks more like a cake batter. Much better. Let this run for a little bit. And the part I often forget about is adding my chocolate chips on it. Really no, they like chocolate. I like the white chocolate in this recipe. Sometimes I do half a cup chocolate and a half a cup, regular cocoa, and then one of these. A half a cup of the white chocolate. It's getting there. I'll show you what it looks like now. Now we've got a much sloppier batter. It's still, as you can see, it's still not all mixed together. So we're going to stick it back in there a bit. That's what you're going for. It's not thick like cake batter, and it's, not thick like cookie dough, but it's not thick enough to be real cake batter that you would normally be used to. Let's do this. Now when it looks like you're free of lumps, go ahead and grease up a cake pan. This looks a little runnier than usual. I think it's because I have had the zucchini for a couple of years in the freezer, and maybe it actually got some, I don't know how, because it was vacuum sealed. But anyway, I'm going to give this a try because I think it's going to work. Don't make this very often, so it's kind of easy to guess what second guess yourself on a recipe that you don't make very often. don't know if I said this already or not. It's something that I forget sometimes, is to put my chocolate chips and my nuts on. I sincerely hope I'm not repeating myself, because I was thinking about saying this earlier to you. You can either put the nuts on right at the end of your mixing, or like I'm doing it right now. It's probably easier to do it while you're mixing, I believe. Then chocolate chips on top. You also want to make sure your chocolate chips are at room temperature. I keep my chips in the freezer, and that would not be a good thing to throw in a cake that you're trying to bake. It just doesn't work very well. I think I'm going to stop at that. I've got a few left. I'm going to eat one. Whoop, one more right down my bibs. Oh. Hang tight. Aha. Okay, I'm gonna bake this and then I'll get back with you, okay? We'll see how it did with being so moist. Okay, I had it at 350 for 30 minutes. And it springs back on the sides, which is good. And then it's slow to spring back in the middle, which is no problem. This cake is done. Hello again, welcome back. The cake is all cooled off. It's been a couple hours. And now I'm going to make the frosting, which consists of 2 cups of powdered sugar, 3 to 4 ounces of cream cheese, which is basically a half a box of an 8-ounce package. And what's the other thing? Oh, a tablespoon of vanilla. So I go ahead and put the butter and the cream cheese together right now, and I'll just mix them up like they are. I apologize for the mixer noise, but there's just no way around it. Whoops, told you I was a messy cook, and I'm not kidding. Okay, here we go. So the cake cooled off really nicely, sitting up in my window. And here goes my tablespoon of vanilla. Got the powdered sugar mixed or measured out already. Okay, just tiny bits of powdered sugar at a time, because otherwise it's going to just poof all over. And it's very slow splitting on that. Okay, we about got this knocked out. Okay, this is looking great. Yum. You might know me and Laura have been on diets for maybe 6 weeks now. And so I have been avoiding sugar and trying to do very well on my carbs. Not going full ketosis this time. I'm just cutting back on carbs and trying to eliminate sugar the best I can. But anyway, this looks really good when you have been without sugar. But I'm taking it to a cookout tomorrow of Laura's sisters. We're having a fish fry. And that way I don't get stuck with this cake and everybody else can eat it. I will have a slice, but then I can just leave the rest there. Anyway, we are going to frost this cake now. Right over here. Here we go. Trying to break things again. Alrighty. Just a little bit here, a little bit there. I do bake a lot of cakes. I also decorate cakes for birthdays and whatnot. Not near as many as I used to. rocking the spoon again back and forth, trying to make sure everybody gets the frosting. I love cream cheese frosting. Okay, after the cake cooled, which took about 2 hours, I went ahead and frosted it. Anyway, I'm so glad you joined me. I hope you had fun, and I hope you make this and enjoy it as much as I do and everybody that I've made it for. Thank you again. Bye-bye.